Take a step inside music history as we bring you on a tour of the largest collection of artifacts and memorabilia at the Hip Hop Museum pop-up experience.
On the 40th anniversary of the famed song Rapper's Delight, hip-hop history is coming alive in the district.
With more than 500 items from hip-hop history, there's no shortage of collectibles to spark nostalgia, as well as touch a new generation of music fans.
I said a hip hop, the hip to the hip hop, you don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red.
Everybody who comes in here for the first time, you know, they're just so excited and inspired because, you know, this has never been done before.
The genre's creators and pioneers have been turning out to see the collection for themselves, and in some cases, to be inducted into the ranks of hip-hop royalty.
I do have one of these, and I am proud of this right here.
I think it's a great thing because it shows the maturity of what hip-hop is, this history. And it's not only hip-hop history, it's basically black history.
We brought our daughter. She grew up in the backseat listening to this, repeating this. For me, it's a continuation of the love of hip-hop music. It absolutely is.
If you really love hip-hop, I need to hear you say, hell yeah!
Hip-hop to the day I die!
Oh my God, this is amazing. This is really amazing, and I'm glad to be able to be a part of it.
I'm transforming!
Say what?
You got what I need!
I can't hear you, can't hear you.
You say he's just a friend.
Say what?
You say he's just a friend.
Oh, baby!
Yo, main source forever, yo. Happy New Year to everybody in the building.
A big deal, you know. It's been a long time coming. Finally, there's a brick and mortar establishment to show what hip hop means.
A hip hop museum is something definitely needed to preserve the culture.
A traveling food, art, fun, broadcasting, DJ, producer, performance, graffiti, b-boy concert experience encompassing all aspects of a music culture.
Oh my God, it's Friday. You are tuned into the right location because this is Hip Hop in Action. We have a very, very special episode today, the induction of DJ Skribble and Charlie Stettler.
All right, thanks everybody for joining me. Oh, this is amazing. This is a very special episode today, and I know that everyone that's tuned in is going to be thrilled because one of the most amazing and iconic hip-hop DJs of all time, with one of the most innovative and groundbreaking music executives and music managers, Charlie Stettler and DJ Skribble are both in the building, and we have an incredible show lined up for you today. But before we get to those two guys, we got a segment of the show we like to call Today in Hip-Hop. That's right, Today in Hip-Hop. I'd like to let you know about an amazing show that's coming up on January 16th. Czarface will be at Sony Hall. If you don't know what Czarface is 7L and Esoteric, the two Boston boys, have teamed up with Inspector Deck, and that's a big show there at Sony Hall. So January 16th, go check that out in 2020. That's a great way to kick off the new year. Also, And this makes a lot of sense with what we have here. Oh, let me get my pointer. What we have here on set. Happy birthday to DJ Dr. Dre. That's right. Dr. Dre's birthday was yesterday. And we want to send a big happy birthday wish to him. And he said, Dr. Dre's birthday wish is, I hope when you decide, let kindness be your guide. Give insulin for all. You see, it's getting late, so please don't hesitate. Give insulin for all, and the world would be a better place. As you know, Dr. Dre suffers from diabetes and blindness, and he wants everyone to offer the gift of insulin for all for his birthday wish, and I think that's a really noble cause. So hopefully people will take heed and give to the appropriate charity. This is maybe the coolest, personally most humbling thing that's ever happened to this show. Okay? A guy, a graph artist by the name of Austin1, out in the Netherlands, has, just for the love, made a mural for me and my DJ, who I so horribly forgot to introduce, the one, the only, B-Dub the Boy Wonder. Jesus Christ, B-Dub, I'm so excited I forgot to introduce you.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my brain's not working. Can we go back to those pictures though, because I don't want to gloss this over. So this is this guy, Austin1, my boy Roy, out in the Netherlands. Man, he just loves our show, and he wanted to pay it back to us by making this incredible mural, which says Hip Hop in Action, WLBS Radio, and Jeremy Beaver and DJ B-Dub, man. I can't thank you enough, bro. When we have the grand opening of the Hip Hop Museum here in Washington, D.C., we promise to fly you out and have you do an incredible graffiti installation there at the museum, and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay? Our set is so busy. I'm actually just looking at us now, man. There's so many things on set, you can barely see us. But this is an incredible toy. If you can see this toy from DJ Skribble, which is going to be donated to the museum. It's also one of the coolest, if not the coolest, hip-hop toy I think I've ever seen in my life. So stay tuned and we'll tell you more about that later on in the show. You know, we're inducting these two incredible legends today, and we also have another special induction live in person here in the studio on December 21st. And that induction is of Davey DMX, Powwow of Soul Sonic Force, and all of the living members of the Jazzy Five, Master Ice, Master D, and Master B, will all be with us here in the building on December 21st, right before Christmas. So please come and share that moment with us, because that's going to be another great induction. We also want to acknowledge Jay-Z's happy 50th birthday, or happy 50th birthday. Jay-Z, who's represented with, go to the other one first, this might make more sense to you, the other picture. So this is one of Jay-Z's displays in the Hip Hop Museum. As you can see, we've got the limited edition Mitchell & Ness Rockefeller jersey, and signed, autographed copy of his autobiography and GQ and his own sneakers, and 20th anniversary special edition of Reasonable Doubt, right? And then if you go to the other black and white one, DZ, it's kind of just like, you know, the placard that sits beside the shadow box when you're in the museum. So this is the placard. Sean Corey Carter, born December 4th, 1969. Happy 50th birthday to you. You are a living legend. That is amazing. Speaking of living legends, this guy just got a Kennedy Center Honors last year, and now he's hosting the Kennedy Center Honors. That's right, on December 15th, LL Cool J will be hosting the Kennedy Center Honors. And man, guy's on a roll, just on a lifelong roll. Really, really impressive stuff, and that'll probably put a little spice into the Kennedy Center Honors there. That I'm not saying it can be sleepy, but I'm sure he'll give it a nice little spice. All right, so I know all my nerdy hip-hop collectors love pins and hat pins and whatnot, so I saw that 3 brand new pins had been released, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to kind of show these new pins that you can get. One is the 30th anniversary of Third Base's album, right there. That's a dope pin with a little record that pulls out of it, 1989, 2019. There were only 30 of them made, and my boy Search, I think they're available on his Big Cartel site, or go check out his social media, because you can get one of them signed. That's right, he even signed one of them. Do we have another picture there, DZ? There it is. He will sign it, or he has signed it, and you can buy it. So that's one of the pins I want to spotlight. Another pin I want to spotlight is Jesse Dean, the portable turntablist designer guy there, has come out with a whole bunch of DJ pins. Skribble, I'm sure you would like these DJ pins. He also does some incredible modifications to 7-inch portable turntables. So check out Jesse Dean Designs. And what's the third pin? Oh yeah, the last pin is by our creative director, Andy Katz. The kind of Q-tip line, I got scrawny legs but move just like Lou Brock. Okay, shout out Andy Katz. You can get that on his Big Cartel. I think that's where the Big Cartel came from. Go check out that new Q-tip inspired pin from the notorious KATZ. Alright, and what else we got here? Oh man! Anyone that watches the show knows that I have some sort of weird OCD obsession with Sean Price. Everyone knows
very much so, very much so.
I don't know, I just love him. I feel like if I rapped, that's who I'd want to rap like. Sean Price. He raps like Hulk, like the Hulk, right, Skribble? Sean Price, he raps like Hulk, right? Like the Black Hulk. And anyways, I don't know, I'm getting really into it. He has a posthumous album released with Lil Fame of M.O.P. And on December 22nd, if we have the flyer there, on December 22nd will be the listening party, or the release party, album release show, December 22nd at SOB's. Okay, so go check that out. And much love and respect to Bernadette, Sean's widow, who I'm friends with. Oh man, tattoos. I know Skribble's got a bunch. You got tattoos, right, brother?
Cover.
Okay, a couple?
Covered there.
Covered in, that's right. We would always see you in the spring breaks with your arms out. Thank you for those sexy arms. No, but look at these. Look at this tattoo, Skribble. This is the dopest hip-hop cassette tattoo I've ever seen in my life. From my boy DJ Doo-Wop. How dope is that?
I love the pencil.
Right? Everyone loves the pencil, and if anyone knows Doo-Wop, you know that like 95 Live was like his seminal mixtape that changed a lot of lives. And here's another one of cassettes on someone's arm. Look at that. Look at all of those maxi singles. You know, if you were alive in the 90s, you had a million maxi singles like this, or late 80s as well, I guess. Okay, so there you go. Dope tattoos, a little bit of news, and we are all done with Today in Hip Hop. When I come back from this break, one of the greatest DJs in the history of mankind will be interviewed and then inducted into the Hip Hop Museum. My man, DJ Skribble. So stay with us right after this break.
And we're just about to show you a little highlight from my life.
You got one of the baddest DJs in the land. DJ Skribble behind you. This
yeah, that's right there.
It's bad. Show him to me. Crack a 40, and a crack a 40, and a 40, and then I do it for my 40, and then I go for mine. So and then I go for mine, then I go for mine, then I go for mine, and then I go for mine, and then I go for mine. So what you say?
I was 11 years old. See my man Squiggy, he was the local DJ in Elmont where I was just moved out of Queens. And he used to rock the local parties and some of the local clubs. And when I seen him DJ, it's something that I always wanted to do, and I used to go to his house every day after school and try to DJ on his equipment.
Now, they used to be with a group called Young Black Teenagers.
Why you going there for? Why you gotta go there for?
Man, yeah, I remember, I bought the CD, I said, ain't no black people in the group.
And then, thanks to my man Charlie Stettler, my manager, we got the gig at MTV a year ago. and I did the Spring Break 1998 in Jamaica in the Grill.
Hey, welcome back to the grind from MTV Spring Break 98. It's about a bazillion degrees hotter here than usual because we got DJ Skribble right here on the turntables. So who wants to hear a little sample? Make some noise.
No, we did the show in Jamaica, and I did the grinds, and then MTV offered me to do a summer show called The Daily Burn.
Hey! Ha! Ha! What's up, everybody? My name is DJ Skribble! Are you ready for the Daily Burn?
And then, 1998, the historical day at the end of the summer, me and Tyrese took over MTV Jams.
That's how you do it.
Oh my God, that is how you do it. And you are tuned into Hip Hop in Action. I'm Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision at the Hip Hop Museum, with my DJ, the one, the only,
Peter the Boy Wonder.
And I'm also with another DJ, the one, the only, DJ Skribble. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
This is special for me. I know you say it's special for you, but trust me, this is for someone who's been watching you for so many years.
I mean, you dug that up from the age of 11. So, I mean, yeah, that was our first highlight reel we ever did.
We got DJ Skribble when he was still just a toddler on the turntables.
You were a toddler, but that was 98, so I was already DJing, 18 years by then. It started in 1980.
Yeah, you know what? And what did I say to you just a few moments ago? I said, you are one of the most diverse, you're one of the most diverse backgrounds in the history of hip hop I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like you've had your hand in so many different arenas, from TV to radio to records and producing and touring. And okay, so I'm not going to wax nostalgic. We're going to get right into this. Okay, we always start every single interview with every single legend like yourself by asking the same first question. What made you fall in love with hip-hop? And if you could even pinpoint a time or an age or a song, like I was 7 and I heard, you know.
I mean, just in general, just when I first saw a DJ, like, I mean, that was it for me. Like, just that energy and that vibe that I saw everybody dancing, and just that everybody in one movement and one energy in one place, and that guy behind the turntables just controlling every emotion that those people had. I mean, that was it for me.
How old do you think you were?
I was 11.
You were 11?
My dad was a doo-wop singer, so I was always brought up with music, you know, but when I first really was exposed to hip-hop, I mean, I was 14 years old, told my parents I was going to a friend's house, and I jumped on a train and went up to the Bronx for the projects to go meet Africa Bambaataa by myself.
At 14?
Yeah, I mean, they was like, white boy.
Clearly neither did your parents.
No, they were like, white boy. They were like, you lost, white boy? I'm like, nah, I want to meet Africa Bambaataa.
Did you?
Yeah, that's how I met Brothers and Theodore, that's how I met Cold Press Brothers, I met everybody. I was 14, and that's how I met Dr. Dre when I was 14. And Chuck and Hank and everybody.
But what is making a 14-year-old?
I was a graffiti artist, so I was already bombing trains. And I was a b-boy, so I was already...
So hold on, I'm tracing this back. So it's actually first you went to graffiti.
No, yeah, I started out graffiti, absolutely, and then I was always into the music, so I got my first set of 12s, not 12s, I had SLB 100 belt-driven turntables with a GLI mixer when I was 11.
What was your graffiti name?
SKO, SKO. That's what I used to write. I used to hit the 2s, the 5s, the J's, the M's.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so then, at what point were you writing graffiti, and maybe more specifically?
I was embraced by every aspect of hip hop culture. I mean, I sucked as an MC. I couldn't. That I couldn't. But I was into, I was into popping. So I was in Ku Klux Spin Masters in my hood.
And where was all this? Where is it?
This is between Queens and Long Island.
Okay.
So and then the DJs really what just took over me, and the graffiti still at the same time. But the DJing is really what I just went into because of the music.
But I think that's pretty rare. A lot of people got into DJing, myself included, but none of us were ballsy enough to go and try to seek out the legends, the masters.
No, like my first DJ gig, my first real one, it was at Roller Castle in Elmont, Long Island, and it was I think it was being thrown by Spectrum City, which was Chuck and Hank and Dre and operating them. So Dre was like the headliner, and I was opening up for Dre, and that's how I met Dre. And I sucked. I got kicked off the turntables within like the first 10 minutes.
Dre was the headliner as a DJ?
Dr. Dre from big time, Dr. Dre. I love Dr. Dre.
Was the headlining DJ?
Yeah, that night, and I think it was Dougie Fresh, LL Cool J, Flavor, it was everybody from Adelphi. And your phone's on, really?
Jesus Christ.
The first rule of etiquette, like when you're doing an interview, is to put your phone on silent, bro. No, but anyway, so I got on and I super sucked. And I got kicked off the turntables within like the first 12 minutes. And I'll never forget, because I was up at like the DJ booth and Dre was on the thing, and this is before I really knew Dre. So he just looked up at me and he was like, gave me that like smile, like someday kid. And then I became...
Had you already like known him before that
that's
gig?
how
you
I
had never known him before.
No, that's how I kind of started to meet everybody.
But think about that. So that preceded... However many years later, you find yourself on the same show as that guy?
Yeah.
And he's talking about DJ Dr. Dre.
And Dre,
from MTV Jams, right?
Yeah, MTV
Raps.
I mean, that's what I meant to say, yeah.
And that's how I met Charlie. I mean, Dre brought me into that whole thing.
Okay, so this is all kind of connected. This is making sense. Okay. So
and then Hank and Gary G. Wiz brought me into the whole fold with Hank and Chuck and everybody.
And when you say Hank, you're talking about Hank Shockley and Chuck D.
And that's what we started doing Black Teenagers. That was
Okay, so this is exactly where I wanted to go. So you are. How does first of all, Young Black Teenagers right here, roll with the flavor. I regretfully in time couldn't get Tap the bottle, but I am assured by Skribble we will get
a few things from me.
Okay, but in the meantime, you're around a lot of talented people. How did the group dynamic come about? When it sounds to me like you're really starting to get some momentum as a solo DJ. How did the group
I didn't
come
have the
about?
solo. I started out as the solo DJ that got into the group, but it was really the group that propelled me to the solo part.
And how did the group come about?
I mean, the group was, it was me, ATA, and Firstborn, and Tommy Never and Cameron, and Hank put Cam in the group, and we just was a lot of rehearsing, a lot of working together with us. And
whose idea was it to put a group together?
It was all of us' idea. It was Hank, and Hank wanted to put a white rap group together.
Ah, okay. So not only Hank Shockley not only is a producer, but he's also acting as the executive.
So me, Firstborn, and ATA knew each other, and Braun knew Tommy Never, and Hank put Cam in, and Cam was the baby of the group, obviously. At that time, he was the youngest, and then that's how it all came about.
Okay, well, let me tell you, not only was Tap the Bottle, one of the biggest records of that time, but, everybody's aware of how, kind of edgy and maybe brazen it was to have a bunch of white guys named Young Black Teenagers.
You think you could do that today?
I think you would get tarred and feathered.
We always got tarred and feathered then, but it wasn't about that to us. It was, we lived hip hop too. And
Right.
it was just to create that conversation, and it wasn't just about being color. It was hip hop is a way of life, and
Right.
it was a way of life to a lot of us.
Well, let me tell you something. It goes without saying that that record and that group opened hip hop to a wider audience and made, on some level, that many more white people okay with listening to and accepting the music and culture of hip hop. I don't think there's any better way to explain how big that record was except to play it. DZ, let's play that video, a little piece of Tap the Bottle, circa 1993?
Yeah.
1993, Tap the Bottle. So if you're just tuning in, you are watching Hip Hop in Action. I'm Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision, with my DJ, the one, the only,
Beat Up the Boy Wonder.
And we're talking with DJ Skribble, who was, one of the foundational members of the group Young Black Teenagers. Tell me, what you told me a couple stories, but what were some of the difficulties that you went through when touring? You were telling me something interesting about going to,
our first tour ever, was with Public Enemy, EPMD, MC Tragedy, and the We Papa Girls, that it was overseas. And our first album, which was Meet the Teenagers, wasn't even done yet. So our whole show, we had 12 and a half or 13 minutes, and our whole show was done off of breakbeats. So we used 27 different breakbeats in that show for our routine, and pretty much performed some of the album, but even though the album wasn't done during that show. So our first show was at the Docklands Arena in England, and Hank sent us over there, and Russell and Leor, and we got there, we had no money in our pockets, no nothing, and we were told, because we didn't have working papers, that we were bringing, which was our gear, all the gear over to give to Public Enemy. So the five of us went up to immigration, and they're asking us all sorts of questions. What are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here to visit my grandmother. But my grandmother's sister, and because she really lived in Yorkshire, England. And they're like, how much money you got on you? And I pulled out like 65 cents out of my pocket, because we didn't get our per diem yet. So, and then everybody had like a different story. We got yoked up into immigration, and we're sitting in there for like 4 or 5 hours, and then finally, Hank and Leor and Russell called up, and they were on the phone with the immigration, and they were like, we don't give a damn what you do with them. We just got to get this equipment.
Was it really Public Enemy's equipment?
No, it was ours.
It was your equipment.
Yeah, and we were going to perform. We just barely made it to the show. They stamped our passports. We had 24 hours to get out of England, and we weren't allowed to work. So we got to the arena, of course, we went on stage. They announced us, and it was like, give it up to the Young Black. Everybody went crazy, and then 5 white guys walked out and just started booing us and throwing shit at us. I got hit with a pair of sunglasses. I put them on, I kept DJing. But, we got booed the whole time we were out there. But by the time we got to Germany, it started to change. And then we started to see, people were like, yo, what is this group about? What is this? Oh, yo, they're nice. They can run. They can do this, and they can DJ. And then it started to, we started to win over audience by audience, city by city.
And would you say that experience in that group laid the foundation for your knowledge and understanding and growth in the industry?
I think, it was a combination of a lot of things. I loved learning about everything. So, even down to the audio and how the sound worked, I would study everything. Even on the Sisters of Mercy tour, we would go to these arenas, and the buses would pull in, and they would all go to a hotel, and I would go to the arena and watch everybody set everything up and do everything and fly it. So that's why I got so big into the behind-the-scenes part of it too, which thank God, because later on, i.e. the MTV Raps 30th Experience, I was seasoned to know what to do with that.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. We have a video from that later. So, you are DJing after Young Black Teenagers. You're DJing on the radio.
I DJed on the radio on Hofstra University's radio station WRHU, and a little bit on BAU at Adelphi. I used to go on Wild Man Steve's show, but I was doing a show on Saturday night with Jeff Foss, and it was college radio, so I was pretty much able to do anything. And from there, I finally got on Hot 97 thanks to Charlie Stettler and Dre and all of them, and they were like, we finally got a radio show for you, but you can't play hip-hop. I was like, what? It's Hot 97. But Glenn Fisher, who did the Saturday Night Dance Party, he was leaving, so they gave me that slot, and I had to play house music. So that's how I got into house music too, because I do.
That's a whole nother side of you.
Right, because I did both styles. I wanted to become the first DJ. I hated house music. Yeah. And then they took me to see Junior Vasquez play, and I fell in love with the energy of that, because it was totally different. And I wanted to be the first DJ to play both. So it all kind of segues into where MTV went. But then I finally got the morning show with Dre and Ed, and thanks to Charlie, and I did that, and then from there, MTV.
And the first show you did on MTV was?
Spring Break was in '98. Was the first time, and this was before rights and clearances and this and that. And it was I did the grind, and it was like, here's your records, just play what you want, go make them dance.
All right, let's take a look at this. I think this contains a lot of it. DZ, you see it says MTV Jams Package. Okay, let's take a look at some of Skribble's early days on MTV. Check it out.
MTV Jams Countdown coming up next. My name is Tyrese, rapping with my man DJ Skribbles right here. The party don't stop. Keep it locked right here.
Doing your thing, baby.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is DJ Skribble. We're down here in the dirty, dirty south of Memphis, Tennessee, home of the blues and the MTV Sports and Music Festival. And I'm hanging out today with my peoples, 3-6 Mafia in the house.
Yeah, y'all, that was the number 8 jam of the day. We right here, Memphis, Tennessee, home of the blues and some of the hottest rock stars. One of the birthplaces of rock and roll, you know what I mean? Skribble getting busy right there.
First and foremost, we gotta congratulate you on going platinum.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Down here we got like all this different music and all the different sports, and you got this like big unification between the rap and the like alternative style. Like you got DMX, I heard doing the song with Marilyn Manson. Sugar Ray just did a song with KRS-One. If you had a choice, like anybody outside the hip hop field, because there's a lot of collaborations, who would you want to work with?
I was saying, like, Jordan, if Jordan ain't recording, then I'ma chill out.
It ain't happening.
Nah,
So you heard it first.
Yo, Skribbles, man.
What the deal?
What's the number 1 video? I bet you $5 you can't guess the
I
number 1
bet you 10
video.
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Number 1 video, Are You That Somebody? Miss
No,
Aaliyah.
You lying.
Nine.
You
She been
lying.
like number 1 for like, what, like 9 years right now?
I'm thinking it's going on 9 years. See, last week it was 8. Now it's about 9. Aaliyah, you doing your thing. I love you. Mwah.
That was the number 8 jam of the day right here on the MTV Jams Countdown. We're down here in Memphis, MTV Sports and Music Festival all this weekend. We backstage, we're with 3-6 Mafia, Memphis' hottest group out. This is MTV Jams Countdown. We with the Digger, the Jay-Z man, Damon Dash, the whole Rockefeller family. You had a soundtrack out for Streets is Watching, which was accompanied by a movie. Now the movie went platinum and the album went gold. So y'all just doing it for real.
I mean, we tried.
We're just doing it for real.
Cool. Right now, we were supposed to do that, but I'm gonna do it. We're gonna go into something special.
I swear, guy. Oh my God.
Wow, that was, first of all, he's telling me off air, yeah, so that's the first time I ever hosted.
Well, no, because
tell me about that.
Tyrese got sick, and they were like, you got to host the whole show, and I had to interview 3-6 Mafia and Jay-Z and everybody, and if you notice, I was sounded like Corky Romano in that movie. You want to buy a boat? Because I was just like going 40,000 miles an hour, and it was like, that was the first time they really threw me into the whole hosting thing by myself, so I would carry the whole show, and now I've learned to calm down.
Well,
and
at least
speak slowly.
they didn't give you any, big name famous people.
No, it wasn't that. It was just that I had to carry the whole thing, and I was like,
Yo, Jay-Z and 3-6 Mafia, yeah, be a little nervous.
That was the first time.
Be a little nervous.
Then it was really cool to do that.
That's unbelievable. I'm sorry, I'm still kind of like in shock from that whole thing. Okay, so on set we have one of the I think this is one of the jackets, the OMTV jackets. Was it a staff jacket? Yeah. So this is signed by Fab Five Freddy. Obviously going to have you hit that up.
Yeah, I was very lucky to do the last episode.
Because you did the last. Well, you didn't just do the last episode, but you did do the last episode. And we're going to play that clip in a second, but anyone that knows anything about hip-hop knows that the final episode of Yo MTV Raps is one of the most historic moments. It's kind of like the photograph A Great Day in Harlem is to jazz, that is to hip-hop. Tell me what it's like to be a part of one of the greatest moments in the history of hip-hop.
When it was surreal, even when I think about it today, the whole time I was doing it, that you got all of these monster MCs, from Rakim to KRS-One and EPMD and just Redman, and it's just who's who, of hip hop royalty at that time. And I'm sitting here backing them all up, DJing, and again, I owe that to Dr. Dre because that was his position. He was the DJ,
Right.
and he gave me that honor to do that.
Did he remember how many years before when you guys were at that?
Me and Dre were tight. Me and Dre hung out a lot. I mean, we were
How many years between that one gig early in your career and then doing Yo MTV Raps was there in between?
About 5. Yeah, at least 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, he gave me that honor to do that. You know what I mean? Because that was his position. He could have went out there. He's like, Skribble's going to do that.
Wow.
And they let me do it.
Wow. Well, let's take a look at it. One of the greatest moments in the history of hip hop, the final episode of Yo MTV Raps. Steezy, show them that video.
Right here for us. We're gonna kick it off right now. DJ Skribble on 1 and 2. We're gonna start with the master of the rap game right here. Rakim is in the house. Yeah, let's get the freestyle. Watch out, let me get out the world. Check the mic, gonna set it. Yeah. Come on. I mean the last but song. And we gonna set it like this. Check this here.
Breaks that you played.
Days of doing it, waiting till the morning. Brainstorming, I write watch tonight, turn the morning. I gather wisdom, what people matter than them. My thoughts pattern, collision, speed up your metabolism. What adrenaline, plus I long as a been again to be in a state of mind that rock hemisphere. I saw a blender, but I can get you there in minutes. Follow the paragraph, chemist in 20 minutes. I got the edges, no books, rough around the edges. Smooth out for listening, pleasure. I describe my car steps over beats, supervision, lies, get the vibe.
You want to do show some love to come back.
And I can look at every time.
Did staff know that because we're going to be coming? All right, come on back. Hey, if you're just tuning in, I'm Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision and the Hip Hop Museum with my DJ, the one, the only
B-Dub, the boy wonder.
Is that a bit old?
No, it does not.
I love that.
I love it too.
The boy wonder.
Thank you, sir.
So every show, we wear these incredible hats. B-Dub, you want to tell them a little bit about these hats?
Yes, sir. If you love the hats that we wear each and every Friday, make sure you check out True Heads Clothing. That's True Heads Clothing, True Heads with a Z, head spelled with a Z, clothing.com, man. Check them out. What up, Neil?
Yeah, what up, Neil? Check out, can you show them the patch that's on your hat?
Oh, that's it, bro.
So this is even B-Dub's wearing the Yo MTV Raps hat today.
These can we close up on that one? Never mind the do-rag underneath it right now, you know. That's how we live. We get it how we live.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So this is a very special Yo MTV Raps episode. And we're going to play the video at the end of Charlie Stettler's interview where you and Charlie and a very, very small team put together, I don't know, maybe the greatest hip-hop concert in the history of hip-hop. I think it was. You passed out because of it. But tell them a little bit, tell me a little bit about putting together the 30th anniversary of the Yo MTV Raps.
You know, Charlie Stettler, who's I've been with, you know, my whole career pretty much. I mean, yeah, my whole career. I mean, he's the reason why he took what I did and took it to a whole different level and made me the first like commercialized DJ of all time, which was amazing. And just because I just would listen to him and he would say go and I would go. Yeah. But you know, after we did that that last episode and then you know we kept moving on and MTV really blew me up thanks to Charlie. You know, all these years passed by and I called him up. I'm like, yo, you know, it's the 30th anniversary coming up of Yo MTV Raps. I said, he's like, so? I'm like, I mean, not like so, like.
Right, he's like, yeah, and?
Right. And I'm like, well, we should do something. And I said, because nobody's ever done anything. And then he pretty much like laughed at me, hung up, and was like, yeah, I'll talk to you later, Skribble, I don't mind. And he hangs up the, you know.
Hey, that was actually a good Charlie Stettler impression.
So, you know, about, I don't know, 24, 48 hours passed, he calls me back, he's like, okay, talk to me. So I told him my idea, and, you know, he thought about it, and then a year later, we were in the Barclays Arena doing the show.
Well, that's Charlie for you. You know, he gets locked in on something, and he executes
if Charlie tells you he's going to do something, come hell or high water, he'll burn down mountains to do it, and gets it done. And that's why, you know, everybody that knows him, we call him P.T. Barnum, because there's nobody that ever in the history of history. I mean, I have a history in hip hop, but that guy's.
Oh yes, yes. Speaking of
movie upon movie of stories of hip hop. Like I mean, he's there at the beginning.
Well, speaking of being the P.T. Barnum of hip hop, we have to talk about it a little bit. Okay, let's maybe move a record here so you can hold it. Go ahead, because we remember we've got the largest collection of hip hop memorabilia and artifacts in the world. Please explain to everyone. Hold it for us, and can we demo this? What is this? Tell us what this is.
This is the first like real deal like commercial hip hop DJ toy called Skribble Spin.
No, wait.
Is it on now?
Can we zoom in, DZ?
Yeah. So, and it was called Skribble Spinheads. And yeah, it did all sorts of music, and you were able to mix on it and stuff like that. Had all sorts of little characters with it. Some of them had cars, and Charlie put this deal together, and it's probably one of the sickest toy deals ever in the history.
And there's even, is this a phone, is this a line in or a line out?
Yeah, you were able to play it through speakers.
Stop it.
Yeah. And it ended up being one of the top selling toys of that time in this category at the Toy Fair as well as Toys R Us.
That's amazing, and from somebody who just has way too many toys, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing. I mean,
what year is this? What year did that come out?
2002 or 2001. 2001. I stand corrected.
Wow.
I mean, there's so many things. I mean, I said, Charlie, I want to do an album. Next thing you know, he got me a deal, and I did traffic jams. Charlie, I want to do a house album. Okay, next thing I know, I'm doing the MDMA compilations with Anthony Acid. Charlie, I want to do this. Yeah, okay. And then we did that. And whenever, we worked so well together, and, it was like, he was like, Bill Belichick, and I hate the Patriots, everybody, just so you know. I'm a New York Giant fan, but I can't front on Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I mean, that's what Charlie wanted.
Right. And he was that to many people.
He was that to many people, to the Fat Boys, as to Dr. Dre and Lover, myself, JR right now. I mean, there were so many different, even back, which you may not know, but from the Latin Rascals. Like, he managed them. I mean, there was so many different things.
We're bringing Charlie up next. But the last thing I want to quickly play, and of course everyone, we're going to go late because this is a special episode and we have a big donation at the end. But, one of the things that always impressed me about you, Skribble, is that your talent backs up your exposure. You know what I mean? It's not like this guy's all over the place and he's really not that great of a DJ. You're an incredible DJ. You've won many battles. And I want to play something real quick because it shows how dope you are, but also, so I don't even know, you DJ demoed with Grandmaster Flash? Explain what we're about to see.
Is this the one from
MTV before turntables and Slinky?
It was during Hip Hop Week. And it was myself, Grandmaster Flash, and J Master J.
So, interestingly enough, the Hip Hop Museum, we went out to the first government-sanctioned Hip Hop Week in Milwaukee back in September. That's the first time a city has sanctioned a whole Hip Hop Week. So when I saw this MTV Hip Hop Week, I thought to myself, this makes so much sense that we're going to air this video. Because I think we should have a Hip Hop Week like every year at the same time honoring hip-hop, right? Or have it a whole month.
I agree.
Okay.
We have a month for everything. So
we have a month for everything. Let's pick our month. Okay, check this out. This is Skribble burning the turntables down, and you can see a quick little cameo.
And Slinky, right?
You and Slinky and Grandmaster Flash on MTV. Check it out.
And also across the way, we got DJ Skribbles and Slinky.
That's me.
4 turntables,
Four turntables.
What are you going to do with 4 turntables, man?
Is this so both of us can get busy at the same time?
So both of y'all get busy at the same time on 4 turntables.
That's right.
You know what, Skribbles? I want to see it. Do y'all want to see that? Do your thing, partner. DJ Skribbles and Slinky, all right? That was DJ Skribble and DJ Slinky tearing it up. We're getting ready to have our competition. We got 3 contestants who came from all over. And don't go anywhere, because when we...
Tell us about Slinky, because I see that you've done a lot of work with Slinky.
You know, I was DJing in the clubs, and Slinky was like 16 or whatever when we met. He used to come up to me.
The boy wonder.
That was shocking. And he used to come up and he's like, yo, listen to Mikey said, I'm dope. And then I finally did one day, and then we just were attached to him.
Oh, so he's kind of your protege.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for New Year's Eve on MTV at the turn of the millennium, Charlie and I convinced Dave Sharolnik, who was running MTV, to give us a 6 minutes or 8 minutes? 8 minutes of just 3 DJs, 6 turntables, right before midnight at the turn of the millennium.
What year is this?
99 into 2000.
Wow.
New Year's Eve.
Wow.
And we did a 6 turntable routine right before midnight. And I'll never forget this. They're all just like, you rehearsed this, right? Like, no, but so we were live, so anything could have went wrong, but he put his trust in me to pull this off, and we did. And it was the first time ever, like, you saw like that kind of DJing and turntablism on commercial television on one of the biggest, most watched nights of the year from 99 to 2000.
Oh my God.
Into the millennium. Yeah.
You've had many special moments.
I've had them. This is one of them.
Many special moments. Well, we're going to make another special moment happen.
That's right. The time has come. This is the very special part of the show where I get to bestow upon one of the greatest DJs in the history of mankind his induction into the Hip Hop Museum. Round of applause. Round of applause.
Zoom in, please. DJ Skribble, stand up. Hold on. I'm gonna knight you. Hold on.
Okay, there we go. Okay. That's even better.
DJ Skribble, on behalf of the world's only hip-hop museum and the largest collection of hip-hop memorabilia and artifacts anywhere known to mankind, we would like to induct you into the museum and to honor your legacy and your music forever with this award. Thank you very much.
I don't know how to hold.
She's got. I mean, for me, like I said, I've been doing this since 1980, and I've gotten to live out pretty much every hip-hop dream or any dream as a DJ, musician, artist, whatever you want to call me, that anybody can ask for. And just in here in DC, I know it's going to be here forever. So the legacy that I've been able to do and just live on forever, for my kids to see, my kids' kids to see, and it's really special to me.
Well,
I'm not even bullshit.
Yeah, no.
This is so cool.
That's awesome. But we love you so much, and I think one of the things that's most special about you is that through the television in your career, you've touched so many people. I, at 43 years of age, came up watching you, listening to you, spinning your records, and you've touched so many that's why you're so deserving of this. So from the bottom of our hearts, we want to thank you for touching so many people.
Thank you, man.
Hip Hop unites! Okay, so let's go to a little video. Right now, we're going to see Charlie talk a little bit about what he did at Radio City Music Hall. You see that video, DZ, called Stettler Talks About First Black Show at Radio City Music Hall?
Yeah.
Let's go to that video, and while we're watching Charlie, we're going to get Charlie literally on set here so that we can discuss some of the foundation of where you even came from with the one, the only, Charlie Stettler. Stay tuned.
In 1983, after going to the Roxy one evening and see all these kids break dance and doing graffiti, whatever, I had an idea and I wanted to organize the first hip-hop concert kind of all over Manhattan. I went to WBLS, and BLS recommended me to a couple of sponsors, and I took Coca-Cola into funding us to the tune of $300,000 in 1983, and we had a 3 months, every borough, every Saturday afternoon with the BLS van and kids would dance, whatever. The winners were going to go to, back then Coca-Cola said, where do you want to have the finale? I said, Studio 54. They said nothing less than Radio City Musical. I'm going, hey, Radio City Musical, that was one of my dreams. When I came here from Europe, I walked through there going, someday I'd like to do something here. What we did not know is 5 days before the event went down, May 23rd, 1983, we were called in, and the local music union guys, 3 white guys, actually said to us on a table, we don't want any the Radio City Musical. And I grew up in Europe, and I had heard that word once or twice, but we grew up on Otis Redding, Sam Dave, Booker T, Wilson Pickett. We didn't really know the whole race thing was this bad, especially me, since I just arrived here. All I can tell you is that I threatened to hold a press conference where I would repeat exactly that what was being said. And 4 days later, Radio City Music Hall opened up with no employees from Radio City Music Hall, and it was the first time 5,655 inner city kids, poor Latinos, poor black, poor white, got an opportunity to go to Radio City Music Hall. Magic, Mr. Magic, who used to host a very famous show, Rap Attack on BLS, was the host of the event. I have a letter in my office stating that we were actually the first black event at the Radio City Music Hall, which I had a hard time believing. I mean, I couldn't believe that there were no concerts in there. So I did that, and that was then followed by Russell Simmons storming into my office and saying, here's another white guy stealing our heritage. And I go, dude, I am nothing but love. I'm not stealing anything. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take Run DMC, which nobody had ever heard of, LL Cool J, nobody ever heard of, Grandmaster Flash and Houdini, and a bunch of breakdancers. I'm going to take them on a tour, and we call it the Fresh Fest. And since you raised $300,000 from Coca-Cola, could you do that again? And I said, well, I can't go back to Coke, but I'll see what I can do. And I called my only Swiss friend, and I said, is there anything that the Swiss are trying to sell? And he said, well, there's a guy named Max Imgrut, who's now my neighbor, who's selling something called Swatch watches out of the back of his pickup truck. So I flew Max to the Roxy on a Friday night, and he watched the whole thing, and he didn't get it. And I said, if you give me your whole marketing budget, which was $360,000, we rename it the Swatch Watch Fresh Festival Tour, and I throw out Swatch watches every night, and I'll make sure that the Fat Boys wear about 20 of them on each arm, and LL and what have you. And he left that night, and he says, I'm going to do it with you, but if it's not working, I will kill you. And I said, okay, I'll take those odds. And we went on tour, and of course, Russell didn't want to put the Fat Boys on because nobody had heard of them at that point. And if you want to talk about branding, by then they were called the Disco 3. So I says, fuck you, Russell. So I went down to the old Tower Record store on Broadway, and I handed out 5,000 flyers by myself. Guess the weight of the Fat Boys, which nobody ever heard of. The person who wins the total gets 800 cans of Diet Pepsi and $1. All right? So thousands of kids lined up at Tower Records. I put a scale. Al Sharpton wouldn't approve of that today. I put a scale in the window, all right? And I had Curtis Blow on the left and my 3 guys standing on the scale. And this kid won. He lived up in Harlem. He won 868 pounds. Vic Miles from Channel 2 News filmed the whole thing. Twice when the Pepsi Cola was delivered up in Harlem, his mama looked out the window and says, you ain't bring this shit up. So they sold it right in the street. So we got it twice. I called Russell up and said, will that do it as the opening act? He said, yo, man, that's just local. I go, son of a... Next day I walked down the street and I read the newspapers, and it was October 1984, and it says, the Jackson 5 are reuniting. So I called my wife, my partner, I said, can you write a press release that the Jackson 5 have picked an unknown group, the Fat Boys, as their opening act? And she said, they did? I said, no, can you just write me a press release? And I distributed that press release by myself across the city, and I got on Good Morning America the next morning. And it's one of the most famous tapes, because when the host turns around to the Fat Boys, and I told him, when you don't know what to say, just go, brr, stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em, which was a big song they had. So he's going around, this must be absolutely awesome that you are going to be on the Jackson 5 tour. The guy's never even been out of Brooklyn. It was the first time they were in Manhattan, and they said, brr, stick 'em. By the time I got back to my record company, Walter Yetnikoff, who was the president of CBS, was yelling at Maurice Levy. He said, I don't give a who this guy, who's this guy telling everybody you're the opening act? I called Russell, he goes, good, you're the opening act. That's how Fat Boys launched. By the time we came out, they went gold in 2 days. Yes! That's how we did it back then.
That's how we did it. That's right. If you know Charlie Stettler, That is very typical of how he works. The one, the only man behind so many iconic moments and groups in hip-hop. Charlie Stettler is with us. Thanks for being with us, sir. You're talking about a really special moment in not just hip-hop, but actually in American culture. A moment when you went against the grain, against people who might have even been racist and not wanting it to happen. What made you so sure that that type of show at Radio City Music Hall?
That's when Roxy, which was a roller disco, switched over to hip hop. And I walked up the stairs, and that's a God's honest truth. I walked into 5,000 people, young kids doing graffiti, young kids breakdancing, young kids rapping, which I didn't know what it was. And on stage was, which I didn't know back then, Africa Mumada. And he saw me, and I had just done some crazy promotion, running around in a gorilla suit in New York. That's another story. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, motherfucker, I saw you yesterday on this TV show. We need somebody like you for this." And I said, "What's this?" He said, "It's called hip hop." I said, "Well, you got me."
Africa Bambaataa said that to you?
Africa Bambaataa said that to me. I have a picture of him and I where I thank him 20 years later for getting me started in hip hop.
He almost introduced you to hip hop.
He totally did.
He did introduce you to hip hop.
He said, "We need you." So the next day, instead of listening to MEW, which was a rock station, I asked people, where do they play R&B music? And it was called WBLS. And 6 weeks later, I BS'd my way up to Coca-Cola and got them to write me a check for $300,000. Went to BLS, and they started promoting. They didn't play rap yet, except for Saturday Night with Mr. Magic. And I went to Sal Patel at the Fever, who, by the way, if it wasn't for Sal Patel at the Fever, there would be no Russell Simmons, no Leo Cohen, no Andre Harrell, no Charlie Stettler, no anybody, no Diddy, because that's where it really started. That's when you went there on a Friday night, you see Cool Herc and DJ Hollywood and Starsky, and 17 balls of funny stuff going up and down the bar. And I tell you how naive I was, because I told Sal at 3 o'clock, "Okay, I get it. And you're going to help me?" He said, "Yes, let's organize a 5-borough contest. I'm going to go home now." And Sal said, "Where the hell do you think you are?" I says, "I'm in the Bronx, right?" I said, "No, you're in the South Bronx. You're at the Fever. Nobody leaves this place until the sun comes up. And by the way, here's a bulletproof vest." And that's the first time I ever wore a bulletproof vest and went through the roof with Sal Patel, who carried a suitcase, and said, "If I throw that to you, you take it and you throw it back to me." I said, "What's in it?" He says, "Money." I said, "Why are we doing this?" "There are snipers." So that's how I was introduced to hip hop. So when later on Radio City Music Hall said, "We don't want to end in Radio City Music Hall," it was Sal Patel and his security team from the Fever that manned all the doors that night, and we were the first African-American concert in that place, which I knew nothing of because I'm from Switzerland, right? The whitest country in the world. So I did that, and then as you saw in that video, the bug bit me. The 3 guys who wanted the Disco 3, Swiss Television asked me to come back home. Everything's forgiven. I was the first illegal Swiss alien, which I think I still am. And I came back here, and as the story goes, when I left a hotel in Zurich, Switzerland, they presented me with a $350 bill. I'm saying I thought breakfast was included. They said, "Yeah, but your guys, whenever you go to meetings, come down here and eat us blank out of the kitchen." So I went upstairs. My 3 guys were ready to go home. They thought I took them to a Cuckoo's Clan thing. There were more white people there. They saw in their lives. And I said, "Listen, Run DMC you're not, Grandmaster Flash Melly Mel you're not, but I think there's a place for humor. I'm going to call you the Fat Boys." They said, "We ain't fat, man." And we come home. They didn't talk to me for 6 weeks. Sal Patel, Curtis Blow, Curtis wrote the iconic Fat Boys. And that's when I went into the store and handed out Sneaker, and the rest got Swatch, and then went on the Fresh Fest. And when it all ended in 1990, Dr. Dre, that Skribble just so fondly spoke about, walked in and said, "Can you help us with your MTV Raps? MTV refuses to play video." Now you got to remember, in 1990, MTV didn't even play Michael Jackson. So I went in. So they put your MTV Raps on 3 in the morning, #1 rated. 5 in the morning, #1 rated. 2 in the afternoon. They didn't want this show. And I finally went to the people, the big ups at MTV. I said, "Can I tell you something? We don't want the show, but it's #1. Who do you think is watching the show?" They go, We can't figure it out. I said, well, it's not African Americans. They don't have cable, so it's white kids in the hood out there who are trying to look. And they go, oh. And that's when they finally gave us a rock solid time slot. And good luck, heads up to Ted Jamie and Peter Dorothy, whose invention this was. And then I managed Ted and Dre for the remaining 10 years, and then helped build Hot 97 with them in the morning show and all that.
So, when you put on that contest at Radio City Music Hall, obviously a group was going to win. But when you were putting it on, did you have any desire to do something with the winning group?
No,
or you just thought it was just a show to put on?
Because Linda, my partner, who designed every album cover, everything, Fat Boy, came up to me and said, by the way, we owe them a record contract. He said, is that what I put on the poster?
No.
I had no idea. I didn't know anything about record companies.
What?
Nothing.
Okay, so many questions, so little time.
Skribble's laughing.
Oh my God. So, you turned, wait, and then you turned him into one of the highest selling acts in the history of hip hop ever.
They grossed more money than any other group. They had $5.5 million in their bank by 1986 when they were 16 years old.
Okay, so, let's take a look at this. I have a great time capsule video. So Regis and Kathy, among many shows, had them on. But if you talk about, really an interesting dichotomy, this is what the Fat Boys, the Fat Boys were taking over the world at one point. Literally all over the globe. The only artist ever in East Germany?
Only artist in East Germany, the only rap artist to pay tribute to Mandela's 70th birthday. We went on after Dire Straits and before Stevie Wonder. 100,000 people performing The Twist. Yeah, it's a corny record, but it was #1 all over the world. My job was to put dollars in the Fat Boys' account. That's what I did.
Not only did you do that, but you exposed hip-hop to masses and masses through the Fat Boys. Let's take a look at what the Fat Boys were like on the Regis and Kathy show. I think this is 1989?
I don't even know.
88? Check this out.
Fat Boys are on their way out here.
I hear them.
Boy, they are three of the biggest in the business, no doubt about it. 7 music videos, a hit single, Falling in Love, the top of the charts. They've got a brand new one out. What was the name of that one, Dolores? That just pop out.
Wipeout.
Wipeout, man, right. Tomorrow is the premiere of their new film called The Disorderlies, and they really are, too. They're getting bigger every day in popularity and in size.
And this is before lunch.
That's right. Here are the Fat Boys.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, good morning. Good morning, guys. This is Darren, the human beatboxer Robinson, next to me. Yeah. In the middle, we have Prince Marky D. Morales.
Prince Marky, that's me.
Yes, right. Yeah. And Damon Cool Rock Wimbley.
Yeah, that's me.
All right, fine. So, Fat Boys, welcome to our show.
Yeah. Glad to be here.
These guys are born in Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, go Brooklyn. Yeah.
And how long have you been together?
As a group for about 4.5 years.
4.5 years?
Yep.
Good. And right now, everything is going well for you, huh?
Perfect.
Yep. Got a new movie out? What kind of a movie is this?
It's a fun comedy.
Comedy?
We're real nervous because the premiere is tonight.
Oh.
So we feel like someone's gonna bust.
Yeah, right.
Maybe our stomachs.
Look like somebody got a bust, too. Here
It's
having a little...
It's supposed to be about the worst orderlies that have ever worked at a nursing home, right?
That's us.
Yeah, I think that's typecasting.
But we don't. It's not like we want to be the worst. We try our best to be good.
Uh-huh.
But we always goofing things up.
Things happen to you, right?
Yeah.
With no control over them. Now, you've been singing 4.5 years. Would you start in high school or something, or?
No, we all lived in the same block in Brooklyn, East New York, and we used to rap in the corners. So we grew up together, little.
You really did. You've been friends for all your life, then,
All
huh?
life. Yeah, we was on this show like 4.5 years ago. Remember we was on here before?
That's right, sure.
And you said I didn't talk.
That's right. Yeah, right at the beginning of your career.
Diss me, you know, try to
I tried to kiss you?
try to diss me.
What's he saying?
Diss me, disrespect. Diss, D-I-S.
Oh, diss him, yeah.
Translate disrespect.
I remember
You
that
tried
well.
to diss this poor young man.
But I'm sorry. Now, you know how they got the name the Fat Boys? They were on tour. They went down, they were staying at this hotel. Late at night, the Fat Boys ran down to the kitchen restaurant and raided the restaurant, ate $350 worth of food. Their manager was called down and reprimanded by the hotel people, and the manager said to them,
You fat boys!
That's right. He said, you guys are just nothing but fat boys.
Yeah!
And it stuck.
And we said, yeah.
Hey, listen, Fat Boys, you know what I could use in my act? I could use a little rap song. Yeah.
That's the first thing you could use.
I mean, I'm going up to Connecticut tomorrow night to sing, and I know they'd love to hear a little rap music up there.
Are you born with the ability to rap, or does one have to learn it?
We were born with the ability. We were born. Everybody's got to learn it.
All right, we'll teach it to us. Come on, you want to learn a little rap?
Sure.
Think of a rap. Now, if I really think about it, it's been a long time. In '82, when I wrote my first spoken rhyme, I wrote it for fun, and then I said it at a jam. I had the three. Where'd you have them? In the palm of my hand. Nobody really could believe that I could rap, that I could grab a microphone and make your hands clap, that I could make you want to dance when you heard him talk. I was the baddest MC in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah!
I think I could handle what you do pretty easily. You're the human beatbox, right?
Human beatbox.
Just go.
You need gold on your teeth. Your turn, Reed. Can you do it with your goiter?
And all these years, like an idiot, I loved Perry Como. And I got the human beatbox next to me right here.
I know, but he's on a pulsating thing. I'm not sure he can do that today.
Listen, you know, we love all your work, and here's the new album. Hey, Fat Boys on a Wipeout.
That's our single. That's our single. That's our new album.
The single?
With Wipeout the Beach Boys.
Oh, yeah, that's
Singles
right.
are getting big these days.
Our new album's to get on platinum. Under it.
The Fat Boys met the Beach Boys, and the Fat Boys ate the Beach Boys.
It's on this album.
That's our album.
And that's a single?
Yes.
That's a single from
What's
that
this
album.
world coming to? They look exactly the
Yeah,
same.
they sure do.
That's our pet snake on the back. Big Ben.
You guys have a pet
A
snake?
boa constrictor, a big one. 18 foot, 18
Did you get
feet
it from
long.
Michael Jackson? Is it his? It's a
That's
different one?
ours.
Where do you keep the snake?
I keep it in my living room. We want to give it to you.
You keep it in your living room.
No, bring out the snake, y'all. Bring out the snake, bring out the snake. Psych. Folks are going,
Fat Boys having a little fun. Yeah, funny Fat Boys. Well, listen, Fat Boys, you guys are really hot right now, and I know that you got fans all over the world, but we got a little surprise for you today, okay? We got 3 of the biggest surprises you ever saw in your life, and are you ready right now for, ladies and gentlemen, here are the Fat Girls. Little tribute to my Fat Boys, please.
Hey. These are nuts.
They give you so much more. What if that? They still keep facing people move to the side when they come in a place. They're the fat boy. Fat boy. Now rationalize while they're having a ball. MCs, their styles, the bass and the highs, the girls and the guys jump wall to wall because they're the fat boy. Fat boy.
These really are the Fat Girls. This is Kim Hedley. I'm sorry, you're Tracy Barber. All right, fine. And then we have Michelle Parker. And Kim Heffing over there. Herring, it's nice to have you here. We just thought we'd give you guys a little surprise. Huh?
Oh, surprise that!
Yeah.
It's time for us to give you a surprise. Oh, yeah, secret surprises, right? Mike and E's fighting Mike Tyson, y'all. Hey, Mike and E's fighting Mike Tyson October 31st. He's gonna knock him out. Right.
Is he really?
For real. For real. For real.
No kidding. Well, that's
Madison
true.
Square Garden. I, his dietitian, I'm a trainer.
Well, now listen, we brought you 3 lovely, beautiful women here.
We go to party now.
Yeah.
Put it down.
I know what I want to do. I want to marry Buffy.
Yeah, well, that's another show. Thank you very much, guys, for going. The movie is tonight, right?
That's pretty cool. I don't even remember that.
You don't remember that? Well, if you're just tuning in, you're watching Hip Hop in Action. I'm Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision and the Hip Hop Museum, with my DJ, the one, the only
B-Dub, the boy wonder.
And we are talking with the Obi-Wan Kenobi of hip hop. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair.
I was thinking about that for the last 10 minutes.
That's definitely fair. That's more
Okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Skribble, you have to tell me what that means on the way.
Oh, it's
I'm the chosen one.
It's a Star Wars reference, and it means you are a Jedi Knight, sir. You are a royal hip hop knight.
He might be a little bit of a Sith Lord. I don't know about Jedi.
We won't discuss the Sith Lord.
Interviews.
So listen, you know, on that show, they are promoting their movie, The Disorderlies, and at that time, hip-hop artists doing a movie made about as much sense as hoedown music at the Apollo.
Right. Yeah, which is why I had to take certain measures to get money out of Warner Brothers to promote it, which I just learned the other day while trying to raise money for our next project, Yo Cannabis, and I thought I had it all in place when this old white guy down on Wall Street said, "Is this you?" And I didn't know. I don't check myself under Google, and please don't, everybody. But if you do, and you click, what is it, images, Skribble? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is me in a Hollywood Reporter, which I didn't know what that was, but I said, in order to be taken seriously in Hollywood, you have to be written up. And since nobody would write me up, George Jackson, who was my producing partner related to New Jack City, said, "Charlie, man, this is not, we're never gonna get anything. It's a black movie, forget it." I said, what about if I buy an ad? Remember that jail scene and Disorderlies where my partner Linda wanted some freaks in jail and I dressed you as Chicken George? My lawyer was there, we put him in a gorilla suit. And my partner said, I always wanted to dress you as a woman, and so I'm wearing fishnet stockings, a garter belt, and I buy a $10,000 ad in Hollywood Reporter, and the next day I get a call and my partner says, there is your first class ticket is waiting for you. Warner Brothers is flying you to Hollywood. So I said, that's great. She said, no, I don't think so. So when I got there, Mark Hanton, president of Warner Brothers, Rob Freeman, president of the, they cursed me out for 2.5 hours for embarrassing the studio because it says some producers will do anything to get the picture in the can. Disorderly's opening at a widescreen next week. Linda wrote the copy. I didn't know you weren't allowed to do that, so I had to sign about 15 letters that I would never heard Warner Brothers like that again. And I said, I'd do it if I get $1 million for a marketing budget, and that's how Disorderlies became the first ever $1 million marketing budget, which 6 years later got me the deal for Dre and Ed for Who's the Man, because I told Bob Shea, who was the president of New Line, that no, you don't know who I am, but if you remember, there was a guy half naked in the Hollywood Reporter who said, you're out of your mind, come into my office tomorrow. That's how we got the deal for Dr. Dre and Ed Lover. I don't work with people.
Hey, round of applause. If you didn't think cross-dressing could get you somewhere, you were wrong.
Skribble, pull it up. You can show it. I don't care.
Oh, give me that. Give me that.
I don't care. Whatever you have to do.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Zoom in, DZ. Zoom in.
Yeah, that's me. I got a belt.
DZ.
But I'm super straight for all
can
the
we
women
see
in
it?
the
I think
house.
we might need to zoom the camera. Can we do it without that zoom? Can we just do the camera zoom? Nope.
Yeah, that's my lawyer in the Gorilla Zoo. By the way, George Jackson called. This is before iPhones, guys. So George Jackson, who then
There we go. There we go. Hold on. Look at Charlie's sexy chest.
Now look on the left with the George Jackson, who called me the night before. He says, Charlie, tell me this shit didn't go to print. And I said, I don't know. He said, because if that goes to print, and I'm standing next to two white guys, one of them in a garter belt, the other one in a gorilla suit, I never worked in Hollywood again. And I was able to catch it at the Little Park at night. George then had a great career. We remained friends until he passed away. But that's how we got money. Same way we got money in Crush Groove when they wouldn't give us a premiere. Linda's idea was, let's rent an elephant. We stuck an elephant outside the Crush Groove that night. It was the first hip-hop movie. Nobody knew anything about it. Warner Brothers didn't want nothing to do with it. And I put somebody on top of the elephant, a guy from Kiss FM, to announce the arriving guest. And I was inside doing shit in the movie theater, and George comes in and says, we have a big problem. And I said, what's the problem? He says, the elephant took a dump. And I said, so what? He says, have you ever seen elephant dump? I said, no. So I went outside, and there was a pile of shit 5 feet high. And it's November. That's how Crush Groove became famous. I'm telling you that. And it's so much shit out there, and it's November, so it smokes. So I say, let's put the red carpet over the mound. And back then there was no iPhone, so I hired a TV crew, and the cameras were like the size of this table back then, to film. And so later on I sent it to Eyewitness News and Channel 4, and you see Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard walking up one pile of the dump on the other. Oh my God. And Rob Freeman, if you want to know how the Fat Boys got the deal, it's not William Morris, not ICM, not anything. Rob Freeman, I had a Warner Brothers called, who's your PR? Who does your PR? So you're talking to him. That was brilliant. How much did that cost? The elephants is $500. That's how the Fat Boys got a 3-picture deal with Warner Brothers.
And it traces back to elephant dump.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, I don't know which video to play first.
You don't even know what to say right now.
All right, well, if you like the zoo, you're going to love this clip from Crush Groove. DZ, it says Crush Groove, Fat Boys, all you can eat. You see that?
I thought you were going to show my boy.
Well, I had a picture of the elephant's poop, but I thought this would be more appropriate. DZ, run that clip.
Calm down, Buck. It ain't that bad.
We're gonna walk inside and guess what's up? Put the food on my plate and some coke in my cup. Give me some chicken, fakes and fries, living past me and lettuce, I'm a passing by. So keep shoveling onto my plate. Give me some sweet satellite cake. Give me some hot macaroni and cheese. Give me some more food, please. Give me some bologna, salami and ham. Toast with butter and strawberry jam. I love it whether the food is cold or hot. Put a burger on the plate and it'll hit the spot. We'll eat everything in an incredible feat. $3.99 for all you can eat. All you can eat. All you can eat. All you can eat. You like. Give me up. And some. I wanna. And give me. And over
you going? You have to pay more money. Oh.
That's not funny, boy.
Okay, at the very end of it, the owner of Sparrow's Pizza becomes very irate because they probably ate them out of business.
They did.
Now, speaking of...
By the way, we broke to this day, it's hanging on my wall, Skribble season. It's a receipt for breakfast with the Fat Boys while we were on tour. It's the largest breakfast bill. It was $186.48 for the 3 guys for breakfast.
Oh my
McDonald's
God.
in 1985.
Now, did they get larger as time went on?
Unfortunately, they did, and contrary to what everybody said, I tried desperately to get them to lose weight, but believe me, they were happy the way they were.
Yeah. Okay, well, speaking of happy the way they were, look at this menu that Charlie's donating from the Carnegie Deli. There is Buff. Whoops, Buff right there in the middle. Okay, but then let's zoom in on this. This is what's really cool. This is a big deal. Right there. The Fat Boy sandwich, hot meatloaf, white meat turkey, Swiss cheese, sweet pepper and Russian dressing. And that is under the Stars Specialties. Now, I also want to point something else out.
Oh, don't point that guy's name out.
Yeah.
No.
What the hell? Anyways, this is an incredible menu, and we thank you so much, Charlie, for this. There's even some more incredible things that he's donating in just a few minutes here. But I want to show a couple more videos. So, you also acted in Crush Groove.
Well, actually, Russell, I'm sorry, I'm going to tell it as it is. We came off the New Edition tour at Fat Boys, the sold-out tour. I never acted before or since, thank God. And I came on the set, and Russell was supposed to play the part of Beaker. Beaker is the guy who runs a corrupt record company. I didn't know that. I never read the script before or after. And Russell could not manage the lines because back then Russell Simmons was, well, we'll leave it at that, all right? So he couldn't remember lines. Nosy run and all that kind of stuff. So I get in front of the camera and they tell me what to say. And in one scene I'm supposed to say, if you ain't got a contract, you ain't got nothing, Russell, which I did. And then Michael Schultz, who had just done Cooley High Car Wash, said, take 2, and I didn't know what that meant. So I said, what's take 2? He says, you're going to say the same thing again. He says, I don't remember what I said. So my 7 lines in Crush Groove to this day, it seems that every African-American male over 50 seems to remember him because when I swept outside my place the other day in New York, an old guy go, yo, Beaker, you ain't got enough money to hire somebody? And they do my lines to this day. Skribble's been with me when that happens, and I go, no, this is not, nobody offered me any future movie parts, by the way.
Well, let me just tell you, what's kind of a coincidence is we were just talking, I was on the phone yesterday with Davey DMX.
Davey D, by the way, Fat Boys, old, God bless Davey, please tell him that.
Yeah, well, he has...
Fat Boys, all of those are him.
He has great affection for you, too.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, you know, he produced, the Crush Groove theme on that movie.
Oh, my God, please, much respect.
Yeah, he has a big respect for you, too, and he'll be here on the 21st. So anyone that's watching, please be here for his induction. But in the meantime, we have a couple things we want to show. Now, if you've ever seen Disorderlies, the movie that you produced, put together, and did some very scandalous sexual things for, this was a movie that was epitomized by one scene. One scene only. It was my favorite scene. And rather than talk about the scene, we're just going to play the scene. Okay? This is my favorite scene, and arguably the best scene from Charlie Stettler's movie, Disorderlies.
I had no idea you did that to me.
Mr. Dennison doesn't even like us, man.
Nah, Mr. Dennison don't like you. What you doing, man?
What you mean what I'm doing? This what I'm doing. Read this. It said it's $1,000 a plate lunch. That's $5,000 there. Okay?
Get out of here.
That's right. Come on, man. Let's get out of here.
What, you steal something?
I ain't steal nothing. Just don't want to be where I'm not wanted.
You're always where you're not wanted. Boys. Yes, Mr. Dennison.
I want to go inside.
By the way, Mr. Dennison. Come here, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Dennison. We'll have you in your wheelchair in a minute. Yeah, let's get this right.
This look like a new lift.
Take that, man. Take them and hook them up. Expert orderlies, at your service, Mr. Dennison.
$100 says they kill him themselves.
I don't know how to work this. That's great. All right, Buff. Here we go. Hit it.
Oh no! Oh God! Oh shit!
Put me down! Let's go! Don't let him wake it! What's you, man? You up in the chair and everything! Help me! Help me! Help me! Turn the wheel! To the right! To the right! Get off me! Get off me! Get off me! No! No! You idiot! Put me down!
Oh my God!
I'm gonna send you a copy. I'm gonna copy when I get home. There's a letter from Ralph Bellamy, the actor, who was 70 or something there, because at the end of the movie, the Fat Boys wrote him, did a little rap about how much they love working with him, and he writes back a letter that I'm gonna send you, saying, I said, I love you guys so much. Sorry, I never understood one word you all said.
You find out later on. If you're just tuning in, we are Hip Hop in Action every single Friday at 5, and today we have the great pleasure of inducting and interviewing Charlie Stettler and DJ Skribble, and you were just watching my favorite scene and everyone's favorite scene from Disorderlies. But you know what, Charlie, you've done so many incredible firsts, and you're a really wild guy, actually. One of my favorite firsts that you did was you gave birth to the very first solo single from everyone's favorite rapper, Biggie Smalls, in a movie called Who's the Man, which has 8,423 cameos in it. Can you tell us a little bit about how Who's the Man came about?
Well, Who's the Man, as I said, we called Bob Shea and said we'd like to make a movie because Dre and Ed, who were at that time the superstar on the morning show, Hot 97. And I said, so what do you want to do? I said, well, we have an idea. We dress as cops, we get Demi to direct it, and then we get a lot of cameos and stuff like that. And then we put a great soundtrack together, and Puffy worked for Andre Harrell at the time. We'll let him do the stuff, and I was in the studio with Skribble apparently too. It just reminded me. We were out in Brooklyn when Biggie did that record for us, the first track off the album. And like when I'm I refuse to go in the trailer with Snoop or Busta Rhymes.
Why do you refuse to go in the trailer with Snoop or Busta Rhymes?
Because I don't smoke weed, I just do business.
You just do cannabis business.
Cannabis business, and just being in the trailer with Snoop for more than 4 minutes
gets very high.
Fucks me up for the rest of the day.
Right.
Same with Biggie in the studio that night. So, we did that movie, and I was lucky enough told MTV to allow me to shoot every episode of Your MTV Raps from the set, which is why we had so much promotion. And then I talked them into doing a 1-hour special the night when the movie comes out from Roseland, and we had Mary J. Blige and Joe DeC and all these people performing on stage. It was a Who's the Man tribute. Unfortunately, that same morning when the movie came out, the news media, which was always anti-rap, there was a stabbing on one of the movies, but that had nothing to do with Who's the Man. It was just outside the movie theater. But it was labeled, and I think it was even on CNN saying, another rap movie, get ready, lock up your kids and all that. And we took a big hit at the box office because for scaring us this stuff.
Is that right?
But I'm told that Who's the Man and Disorderlies and all the movies crushed group, just judging from the respect I always get from the community is that it apparently lives on very well online.
Oh my God, it's an iconic film. And let me tell you, if you even like hip hop, not love hip hop, just like hip hop, it involves so many great hip hop acts throughout the entire movie. I would like to play a quick medley of all of Bernie Mac's scenes.
Oh, God bless Bernie Mac. My God,
you know what I mean?
Bernie Mac.
He's so funny.
He's the funniest dude I ever met in my life, and when he died, I cried.
He's very funny, and rest in peace to Bernie Mac. Let's check this out. Charlie Stettler's movie, Who's the Man? With Dr. Dre, Ed Lover, 8,423 cameos, and these incredible scenes from the one and only comedian Bernie Mac.
Licking the toes all in my mouth. Working myself up towards her thighs. Kissing her ever so gently around her gut. Then I start kissing on her titties. Then you know she got a big mouth. Then she said, what you gonna do with my lips? I said, I'm gonna put some crazy glue on you and shut the fuck up. That's what I'm gonna do.
You need to stop talking all that shit, G.
Hey, nigga dude, I'm not talking no shit.
What you laughing at, Ray? With your ugly ass. Look like you bit a brick.
He's right. You threw.
Whoa! Damn!
Fuck Dice. Fuck him. Come on, man, you bad hair motherfucker. No had nothing to go there. Go in the line, baby. Why you talking like that? One line. Come on, man.
Thank you. Hey, drainage upstairs right now. It's an emergency. Sweating his balls off. All right, here go the money, Frankie. Hey, yo, George, I'll be right back. Frankie, it's $10, no skimming. I know, $10. It's $15.
$15, $20.
I'm sorry, $20.
$20 damn dollars. Get your ass on there. What you look at that old scarecrow? Who you call a scarecrow, goddammit? Hold it for you, dope dealer. Man, who in the fuck believe you two niggas cops, man? Look at you looking like before and after. I swear to God, I wish you would try to arrest me. You'd be wearing 3 shoes. 2 on your feet and 1 in your head.
Yo, man, I don't understand. Yo, you guys fucked up. You ought to be cops like Leon Spinks should have won a beauty contest, and that nigga.
Oh, nah, Leon's a good brother. Now, Bismarck, that's a ugly motherfucker. Oh, shit. Yo, y'all, I need a refill. Who's coming back with me to the store?
What the fuck you keep drinking that shit, man? Your inside gonna be fucked up like your ugly ass face.
My ugly ass face. 40, you so messed up all the time, you don't remember nothing? No way.
Shut the fuck up, man. Sound like a dick in your mouth, man. Don't make no goddamn sense.
Third time in 2 days you cut my hair, man.
I can't help it. We ain't got no customers. They got all the damn customers. Look at him.
Yeah, trading his fat Albert ass.
Man, he look like he stink. World's coming to an end.
There it is, the one and only Who's the Man with Charlie Stettler. Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause. That's one of the greatest movies, and you know, if you haven't seen it before, it features Biggie Smalls' first single, Party and Bullshit. But right now, I want to do something really special for a really special guy.
You see, Charlie Stettler has had the balls and the gumption to get into and innovate and do something that very, very few people had the balls and the gumption to do at a very early stage in hip-hop. You see, the reason why we're inducting Charlie today is because he has had his hand in so many amazing moments throughout the history of hip-hop. And in fact, at the end of the show today, we're actually going to play a nice recap video of the 30th anniversary concert that you and Skribble put together.
Thank you, sir.
But right now, I have the great honor, as the founder of the Hip Hop Museum, the only hip hop museum in existence, the largest collection of hip hop memorabilia and artifacts, I would like to pay tribute to you and honor you with this award and let you know that your legacy and your career will live on forever in the Hip Hop Museum here in Washington, D.C. Round of applause for the one and only Charlie Stettler.
I want to take this opportunity to thank my partner Linda West, who not only designed every single costume we designated to the museum today, every album cover, designed all the clothes for Disorderlies, and without her, I'd be in jail. All right, so that
There we are, Linda West. Okay. Now, here's the most amazing part of this show. DZ, we're going to need a wireless microphone, and I'm going to need maybe even an assistant. Rahel, you got your camera going. So, Red Summer is our chief curator at the Hip Hop Museum, and literally put together every single shadow box and display with the team. Round of applause for Red Summer. Right now, we are going to, DZ, turn our attention to the items in front of Red Summer, and while she holds them up, I am going to describe, and maybe Charlie will help me. Charlie, here's this. Help me. Okay, so our chief curator is going to hold up the very first piece, which is absolutely unreal.
This is from the album. If Skribble, if you hand me the big and beautiful album right there, see the album.
So this is the leather.
As you guys know, I went a little differently with the Fat Boys because I couldn't compete in the Run DMC and other ways, so I had to ask the Tommy Gangle. So the Fat Boys always wanted to dress leather, and Linda West said, "Well, if we're gonna do leather, at least let's add some spoons and knives." And this jacket belongs to Prince Marky D. The Human Beatboxers album is actually in a rock and roll hall of fame,
right.
But this is now here.
Okay, so can we see that, DZ, a little? Yep, hold that up there. So this is the leather motorcycle jacket worn by Prince Marky D. Morales on the cover of the Fat Boys album, Coming Back Hard Again. And the jacket was designed by Charlie's partner, Linda West. That will be an incredible centerpiece. Look at the spoons and the forks all over that jacket.
Yeah, we had trouble getting to the airport.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Actually, if you want to, yep. Put that right there. Princess P, if you could help us a little bit. We're just going to need a little space down. Put it down. Okay, here we go with the next item. This is the most incredible donation to the Hip Hop Museum.
This is the night they got their first platinum album. We decided that instead of just giving the platinum album, it just so happened that, what's the circus that used to, that no longer is?
Ringley Brothers.
And I asked if I could get into the ring with Linda, and we put 3 platinum albums around the necks of elephants, and then the elephants bowed in front of the Fat Boys, and these are the costumes.
Oh my God! And exactly, Linda says this is the red lame coat with flame motif worn by Darren the Human Beatbox Robinson for live appearances during the Fat Boys' last tour. Coat designed by Linda West and tailored by Horst.
So these are items that when Jeremy called up and said, "Would you donate?" I said, "Well, it's kind of difficult to part with that stuff because I have been paying for 20 years a storage slot and housed all of this, and we pretty much
there you go. Good
pretty
idea.
much cleaned that out."
I'll take the leather one on the hanger too. Oh, okay. Wow, this is.
I think this one was Buffy's.
Wow.
Oh yeah, exactly.
See, when we were on the Fresh Fest, we were the only group that had actual costumes from the that came out in there.
Oh my goodness! Would you look at this, guys? Look at this.
That's a Ric Flair drip.
And this
This
is.
is Buffy's. I think this was Buffy's coat.
Yeah, no, the one I read earlier. This is the red lame coat. Wow. The other one, the black satin. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So this black satin bomber here is actually the one from Prince Marky D. That one is actually Darren, the Human Beatbox's jacket. Beat up. Yep, I'll make some.
Now you guys all remember in jail without the bail, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you how we made that famous. To promote it, I don't know how many of you have been in New York. Our jail is Rikers Island. And Skribble, my English sometimes, what do you call the wagon that takes prisoners? Paddy wagon. So I wanted to get press. So I sent out a press release inviting the press to meet me outside the Daily News. And I had a paddy wagon for the press because the Fat Boys were doing a what do you call it, a free concert for the prison. And once I had 65 journalists on that bus, I handcuffed them. And they couldn't get off the bus at Rikers Island until I agreed to write a favorable story for the family. So that's how we did that.
Wait, is that the first hip hop concert at Rikers?
I don't know if it's the first hip hop, but it's the first time we changed the journalism.
I'm sure that's probably, hopefully, the only time.
Yeah, but it worked.
But it worked.
It worked.
Okay.
I got a lot of press.
So this one that she's pulling out now is the black and white striped. Oh my God, this is amazing, guys. The black and white striped jailhouse suit worn by David Kowalski Wembley. Oh my goodness. And that is their first big single, Jailhouse Rap, right?
Well, Fat Fat Boys was big, and then Jailhouse Rap, I think, was 3. Can You Feel It? I think was 2nd. I'm trying to remember.
Wow.
Okay. And then, of course...
Could I have one of those? That's sick, man.
That's amazing.
And then sometimes we changed it up. Buffy said, can we be a little more sexy? And make it a little more,
Really?
Does it have to be black and white? So Linda designed this one.
Oh, okay. So this is the red and white striped jailhouse suit worn by Darren the Human Beatbox Robinson for several live performances while touring because he wanted something more sexy. Okay.
Rest in peace, Buffy.
Rest in peace, Buffy. That's right. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, I think that's the end of the garments, you guys, and let's go on to these prints. These prints are really
you don't
good.
have to do all that.
Oh yes, we sure do. Oh yes, we do.
So the print you're about to see, again, my partner Linda designed all the costumes for these orderlies, and what you're about to see are the original drawings that we framed and then put in storage.
Okay, so in
by the way, Jeremy, I give a big up to you because you were relentless, dude.
I am.
The guy called me like 100 times.
Yes, I did.
Don't donate to Universal Hip Hop Museum. They don't know what they do. So I go, okay, you're gonna get the whole thing. So, by the way, Wipeout I did in response to Russell Simmons doing Walk This Way with Aerosmith.
Yeah, let's show that first. So this is the cover of Wipeout, the single, and it's signed by all 3 members. Tell us a little bit about your competitive nature with Russell and what he had done.
Well, Russell saw me at the Billboard Awards. I doubt he remembers. But up until then, I had always outsold his acts in terms of units. I didn't say I was better. I get the point as a white guy from Switzerland, make comedy instead of, street. I can't be that. That's not where I grew up. So I went to comedy grad. And at the Billboard Awards, after Aerosmith, Walk This Way came out, I had to agree that this was the greatest collaboration with rock thing I had ever seen. And Russell walked by me and gave me the finger and he said, I got you now. So I went home and I said, okay, how can I beat that? And I said, when I grew up in Switzerland, there was a bunch of old white men who may no longer be alive called Beach Boys. They had a record called Wipeout. Wipeout. And I somehow ended up in John Branca's office, who represented them. John Branca then became Michael Jackson's attorney. And we fought for a little while. Their manager said, never heard of you guys. I said, my guys never heard of you guys. Long story short, we did that video, and to this day, the Wipeout video is the longest running #1 video on MTV. And when I met Russell, I was able to return.
All right, well, let's tell us about this cover. I was saying that
this was the original first ever cover. Linda, again, my partner, did this back then. There was no Photoshop and stuff, so this was put together in the studio.
No Photoshop, you guys.
No Photoshop. And that's what she did. The Crushing album, which was our first, the next one, which our first, the one after.
The next one.
Which was our first platinum album. Linda wanted the Fat Boys to wear a snake around their neck. Don't ask me why. But that took apparently some... Oh, that's not in this picture. It will be in another picture. But that was that. And then long before Will Smith met up with Freddy Krueger, the Fat Boys were big fans of Freddy Krueger. So we asked Freddie if he would like to be in the video, and we flew out to LA while they were filming Elm Street. And as you might have seen the video, there is Freddy Krueger with the Fat Boys. So our feeling was we had to constantly reinvent.
Yeah, right.
We had to always do something new, something that people hadn't seen yet before. And now the last 2 prints, that's the one that Linda had a big problem parting with those yesterday. Because those are the original drawings.
But can we back up? Like, who is? Let's tell them a little bit more about Linda, because she's
Linda
so
West has been my partner from day one. Linda taught me how to speak English. She's American. She's a brilliant worker. And we've been in business together since day one. Since Fat Boys, Dr. Dre, Glover, DJ Skribble, Latin Rascals. And she's also the person that designed every album cover, produced every video you guys have ever seen from all of these artists.
And these are her actual renderings.
She did that by her hand.
Look at this, you guys.
You may remember the uniforms in Disorderlies.
Oh, yeah.
So these
she designed all of their outfits in Disorderlies too?
All of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Did the studio have to
You can tell I'm shouting her out all night because I want to get something.
They are also married, guys. So that's also a testament to being able to work with one spouse continuously for a long time and
Yeah, as
not
long as
hate
you
them.
have an office in a different town. Sorry, baby, I was just kidding.
Look at that, you guys. If anyone remembers anything about the Fat Boys, they remember Prince Marky D. With the squirrel hat, right? The Davy Crockett hat?
Yeah.
With Prince Marky D, everyone.
Nowadays I figured Jeremy in the Hip Hop Museum would treasure because some people have still vinyl albums, but it's hard to find one that's never been opened.
Yeah. Oh, right. They donated all of them sealed.
Sealed. Wow. Crushing. Fat Boys are back. Big and beautiful. The soundtrack from Disorderlies. Alright. On and On, which was the first, my attempt at doing an opera, a hip-hop opera, it didn't work. And then these early singles, 12 inches.
Everyone remembers Sutra. Yeah, look at that. That's an iconic
Bunch
piece
of
of
crooks
vinyl.
up there, by the way.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, nobody ever got paid.
Oh my goodness, look at all of those.
And then if you go on the bottom, I think there is the album that actually triggered all of that, which is the Tin Pan Apple Breakdance and Rap Contest, which you hello, they said they were fans of the Refrigerator. Did anybody remember?
Refrigerator Terry, yeah.
I forgot to tell you that I managed to get the Fat Boys film to a performance with the Refrigerator, which was then aired during the Super Bowl halftime.
Oh, wow.
Okay, Russell didn't like that at all. That's, of course, you've seen before.
Yeah, Wipeout.
And then the Twist, which everybody said is a corny record. It's so corny that it went #1 around the world, and #8 here, and the Fat Boys probably made $1.5 million back then money, not what you guys do today. So when I say they had $5 million in the back, so now this is the corniest thing I ever did in my life. You didn't hear that at the beginning. The way I actually made my first money in America with Linda, I couldn't sleep when I went on vacation in Barbados. So I came home and said, I'm going to stick a microphone out the window and record noise for people that can't sleep in the country. And I was told that I should go see a doctor. So I put on a gorilla suit, again, ran around New York City trying to get press, but I couldn't until I saw a guy running for governor in New York City giving a press conference, and I will send that folder to the museum too. I stick my hand around his neck and he says to me, "Get the F away from me, you stupid gorilla." And I said, "I'm here for the same reason you are, press." And the next day 200,000 orders came in for 5 minutes of noise. So I love your country. I made my first money with noise.
You guys,
and then
noise, literal, actual outdoor noise.
Wow. And then some rich Arab bought the rights to this noise. He said, "I'm going to make a rap record," which I didn't know what rap was. So these kids that went to Radio City Music Hall had the rap to this horrendous record. It's probably the worst hit that's ever been put on vinyl. But I'm happy to tell you that I managed to talk Coca-Cola into giving me 300, BLS into 720,000, and we got it on at Radio City with never having to play that for anybody. I mean, you just have to believe in what you sell.
Believe in what you sell. Believe in what you sell, right?
By the way, next, DJ Skribble, Linda West, Charlie Stettler. We are, even though I don't smoke weed, we now own the trademark, the name called Yo Cannabis. And you're all invited to come out to Vegas for the Yo Cannabis Kickoff Music Festival.
you
Did
know.
I get it all in Skribble?
He got-
Anything else? By the way, Skribble is the world's greatest DJ. How about that?
Yeah.
Don't say that, we're gonna get hell. I'm telling you.
So, Red, can we get Red this microphone here first beat up? Oh, she has one.
Skribble, you finally got me on the mic. By the way, I don't do interviews. This is the first interview in 20 years.
I want to just ask Red really quickly. Red, you and I have been on this crazy journey for almost a year now. Can you please?
Today is actually our Facebook friend-iversary.
And I'm sure they reminded you of that. Let me ask you though, be honest with us. Of all the things we've curated and we've done so far with the museum, explain what it means to get a donation like this.
So, I'm really like overwhelmed just looking at it again because, I don't even know yet. Even when we looked at the list of everything that we were getting, I was just like, this is insane. If you had given us a jacket, we would have just like been overwhelmed.
When I arrived at storage yesterday, it was a jacket. It was me who said at the end, okay, I'm going to be dead soon. So this shit either going to get thrown in the garbage, and Linda goes, but not my drawings, come on, everything. So we just clean out everything, called Skribble, they go by my house this morning, we loaded up the suitcase, and here we are. So enjoy, we're happy to be here. And feel free to donate to the Old Cannabis Fund.
Listen, I really want to say thank you to Skribble and to Charlie because, to drive down here from New York and to believe in the preservation and honor of hip-hop, I think it's really important because America has only just a couple unique original American art forms. Hip-hop is one of them, and it's now our biggest export from this country. I just want to ask one last question in closing. You have had incredible longevity in your career. You believed in a genre of music that most people thought was a joke and a fad. You've made millions, multiple platinum records, TV, movies, radio, everything. But at the end of the day, what is most meaningful of everything you've done to you? What has had the biggest impact on you as a human?
To sit backstage at Barclays Center on June 1st last year, watching DJ Skribble putting together the most incredible show I've ever seen, watching Dr. Dre and Ed Lover and T-Money and Fat Five Freddy, all the guys that I came up with on that show, and then looking into the audience and see that what I played a small part in gave that much satisfaction, and I'm happy to say, guys, every show I've ever done, I'm not a savvy internet guy, but Skribble told me 3 days after the show, you know what? It's the first show, we never got any negativity. People just said they had an incredible time, and we're going to do this same thing right now with the Old Cannabis stuff. And all I can tell you guys, I can't tell you how happy I am. And Freeway Rick Ross, if you're watching this, you all know who Freeway Rick Ross is. Not Rick Ross the rapper, but Freeway Rick Ross. Yeah. Who I had the pleasure to meet with in LA 4 weeks ago. Who thanked me. I almost fell off the chair saying, I said, why are you thanking me? He said, I thank you what you did for the culture. So I thank you for allowing this Swiss guy from the mountains into your world. I loved it from day one. I love it more today than ever. Okay, yes, I listened to Cardi B, I listened to all the new shit, but I think ours was better. All right.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, amen. And with that, let's close with the recap video from one of the most incredible hip-hop concerts in the history of mankind, the 30th anniversary of Yo MTV Raps at the Barclays Center last year, put together by Charlie Stettler and DJ Skribble and others. Check out this video and catch us on December 21st with Davey DMX, Powwow from Soul Sonic Force,
I love you.
and the entire Jazzy Five, okay? Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Skribble. We'll be back on the 21st. Jeez.
We're here in Brooklyn, New York,
at the Barclays Center. Yo, everybody is in here for the MTV, MTV Raps 30th anniversary.
This history right here. We all grew up with this. We all grew up with these cats, and we're here to support them still.
To be backstage with all these legends is nostalgic.
Brother, they did it so big, man. They couldn't have done it any bigger than the Barclays for your 30-year anniversary. Couldn't have did that no bigger.
This is one of those special moments that, we'll never forget. And it's so beautiful to see everybody here. A lot of us haven't seen each other in such a long time.
It's a big reunion here.
I can't go from one end of the hall to the other without, oh my God.
We seen Sal from the Disco Fever, Busta Rhymes, the Joe Crack, and one night.
You might see Smoothie over here, Special Ed over here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Curtis Blow, shout out to Curtis Blow, man, one of the original Godfathers, and I saw everything.
Walking around and I see all the artists and everybody shaking hands and the vibe of unity and togetherness and love. It makes me feel honored to be a part of this thing called hip hop.
Yo, MTV Raps, it's your boy Special Ed, the youngest in charge. Holla at us, 30 years. You heard? 30.
I had my phone in my hand the entire time. Because I wanted to capture the moment. Seeing so many people who have grown, 30 years, just imagine.
A lot of these people you don't see no more, 'cause a lot of them move out of New York. They West Coast, Atlanta, whatever, but this is great, we need this.
And then now you say, how you doing, but you also say, so how's your kids?
Yeah,
how's your grandkids?
That's a new conversation.
It felt so good, man, just seeing other brothers from our music era, you know what I'm saying, out there on that stage.
The crowd was rocking, you could hear them responding. The whole vibe is crazy.
Seeing Black Sheep. I was behind the stage, I was in my dressing room, and when I heard the music come on, I ran all the way to the stage.
I went out there and still did my little breakdance moves, and the crowd loved it, man. I just feel so good to be able to perform out there and just see all the rest of my peers and my friends like Kool Moe D and Fat Joe, and what an incredible show.
Rap is something we do, but hip hop is something we live. So in the culture of hip hop through Yo MTV Rap's been beautiful for all the artists. As you can see, they grown up now.
Come back and see so many like minds and people that get it, and a whole arena full of people as young as my son, you know what I'm saying, that can take it in and absorb it and digest it and give it back to us, hopefully in an even finer form at a later date, is nothing but a blessing.
Came in here and it was just like electrifying, and as soon as I walked out where the stage is, it's just packed with people. It kind of brought me to tears because people are really passionate about that time, this era, this music, this sound, and the energy was just, it was visceral.
A lot of the people here, some before us, some after us, but we all from that elite, real hip hop, 90s, early 90s. The golden era. Everybody in here is classic tonight.
We came to take a bite out the Big Apple.
Take a step inside music history as we bring you on a tour of the largest collection of artifacts and memorabilia at the Hip Hop Museum pop-up experience.
On the 40th anniversary of the famed song Rapper's Delight, hip-hop history is coming alive in the district.
With more than 500 items from hip-hop history, there's no shortage of collectibles to spark nostalgia, as well as touch a new generation of music fans.
I said a hip hop, the hip to the hip hop, you don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red.
Everybody who comes in here for the first time, they're just so excited and inspired because, this has never been done before.
The genre's creators and pioneers have been turning out to see the collection for themselves, and in some cases, to be inducted into the ranks of hip-hop royalty.
I do have one of these.
And I am proud of this right here.
I think it's a great thing because it shows the maturity of what hip-hop is, this history. And it's not only hip-hop history, it's basically it's black history.
We brought our daughter. She grew up in the backseat listening to this, repeating this. For me, it's a continuation of the love of hip-hop music. It absolutely is.
If you really love hip-hop, I need to hear you say, hell yeah! Hip-hop to the day I die!
Oh my God, this is amazing. This is really amazing, and I'm glad to be able to be a part of it.
I'm transforming!
Say what?
You got what I need!
I can't hear you, can't hear you.
You say he's just a friend.
Say what?
You say he's just a friend.
Oh, baby!
Yo, main source forever, yo. Happy New Year to everybody in the building.
A big deal, you know. It's been a long time coming. Finally, there's a brick and mortar establishment to show what hip hop means.
A hip hop museum is something definitely needed to preserve the culture.
A traveling food, art, fun, broadcasting, DJ, producer, performance, graffiti, b-boy concert experience encompassing all aspects of a music culture.
And I'm a born again virgin.
I know you're having a dinner thing. Hey guys, this is Linda West. I'm calling her in New York to say how you enjoyed the stuff.
See you. Love you.
I drop your name every 5 minutes. I hope you take care of me when I come home. Thank you. Here is Jerry.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda. Everyone's going nuts over here.
Yo, bitch, my bitch, yo, bitch, my bitch, me with my good SB. By the way, what you never heard, when Ed Lover always wanted to do the closing of the show, he always said, B could close it out in Swiss, and it goes like that. Hammenum is like a hammenum, it through his name, hammenum, the track, and the hammenum, homsacker. There you go, bro.
What did you just say?
I told you.
Did he just rap?
I just said I would love to have sex with every woman that's in this room.
That's the first Lil Wayne lyric.
Hammenum is like a hammenum, it through his name, hammenum.